I barely know the man.
Oh, hi, honey. We were just deciding who was gonna go
Well,
and pick...
don't bother. I'm home. I'm out of patience and I'm out of candy, so beat it.
Can I have the ducky now? There's a little boy out there who really needs it.
Tough.
Come on now.
Ed O'Neill emerged from the past as a legendary loser, but at the age of 80, he reveals that Al Bundy was only the tip of an iceberg filled with turbulence.
Ty Burrell had done some things, but I didn't know Ty Burrell. I didn't know the names. I didn't know any of the kids. I didn't know Eric.
While the nation laughed at the crude jokes of the Bundy family, the cast itself was fighting fierce internal battles, from nearly becoming a criminal in Youngstown to the shock of being canceled by the network through a stranger's words. This story has never been fully exposed. Let's rewind time to see what truly happened behind the haunting stage lights of this legendary sitcom, Married with Children.
I know what you're up to, trying to sabotage your own wife. Is there no limit to how low you'll go?
Kelly, why don't you cook up old Dad something to eat?
Daddy, I am practically a woman. I don't cook. Why don't you just do what I do when I get hungry?
I'm going to be asking you girls to do some things in this video that may not seem humanly possible. So, I'd like to start by having a little pre-audition.
On April 5th, 1987, the Fox network officially aired the first episode of Married with Children, signaling the end of the era of hypocritical moral values on the small screen. Throughout the 80s, American audiences were accustomed to the model family template, where conflicts were resolved smoothly in 30 minutes. Married.
Does this belong to you?
Yeah, only a few more payments. What did you do?
They're doing a Bugle Boy jeans commercial. Oh.
Oh, you're losing her, Mr. Bundy. Quick, do a TV talk down.
I'm glad you're here. I need a bra, Steve.
Some makeup wouldn't hurt either.
With Children appeared as an opposing entity, exposing the suffocation and cruel corners of the working class. The show did not sugarcoat life. It turned the family into a battlefield where every member fought for personal survival. At the center of the series was Al Bundy, a shoe salesman in a women's store, a man always facing a chain of failures from financial struggles to marital unhappiness. To build this character, Ed O'Neill did not use exaggerated acting techniques. He fully exploited painful personal experiences. Formerly a promising football player in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers, before being cut from the roster by legendary coach Chuck Noll in 1969, O'Neill spent a long period living in the steelworking environment of his hometown Youngstown, Ohio. That was the core material that helped him convey Al Bundy's apathy, grit, and hidden pain authentically. The success of Married with Children did not come from light-hearted humor, but from breaking every traditional rule of conduct. The show introduced themes once considered sensitive, such as selfishness and relentless arguments. Each episode did not end with an educational lesson, but often with the character's miserable failure. Fox, then, a fledgling network, bet big on this project. Even while facing a wave of strong criticism from television monitoring organizations for content deemed offensive to women and degrading to the family image, the series maintained impressive ratings. This opposition accidentally created a media effect, attracting a young audience already tired of didactic programs. The Al Bundy character became a cultural phenomenon, representing the disillusionment of the working class. Ed O'Neill succeeded in turning someone who should have been hated into someone the audience understood. He once confided on The Tonight Show about the dangerous environment he experienced in Youngstown, the time that shaped the character's psyche. "I started hanging out with guys who were out of work, people always looking for shortcuts to make money. It was an environment full of trouble and wrong choices." The show's decision to depict the family as a battlefield instead of a sanctuary created a revolution in sitcom screenwriting, paving the way for a series of gritty, realistic comedies later on. Married, with Children was not merely an entertainment product. It is historical data on American television mindset, where the opposition between the old and the new, between fake perfection and harsh reality collided. Behind the laughter and statistical successes, the show's production environment suffered from communication breakdowns and ego clashes among the cast, which would become major cracks later. Those events turned the set into a place of extreme tension, where actors had to constantly suppress personal emotions to complete their roles, creating a harsh professionalism in front of the camera. Backstage conflict. If on screen Al Bundy and Marcy Darcy were a bickering couple whose arguments made the audience laugh, the truth behind the scenes of Married, with Children was an opposing picture where the atmosphere was always thick with tension and bruised egos. The relationship between Ed O'Neill and Amanda Bearse began with normal professional courtesy, but gradually fractured deeply over time. This discord was not merely petty bickering, it was a direct clash of people with strong personalities in a high-pressure production environment. The flashpoint of these conflicts began to erupt when Amanda Bearse took on the directing role for several episodes. Having a fellow cast member become the director created a major shift in the power structure on set. O'Neill, with the pride of a lead star, often felt uncomfortable following the coordination of someone with whom he had previously shared an equal working relationship. In several interviews, he once spoke frankly about his arrogance at that time. "I told her that I had the power button in my hand to decide who stays and who leaves in this show, and she didn't have that power over me." This firm declaration turned the set into a battlefield of egos that would never concede. The biggest scar in this relationship must be the scandal involving TV Guide in 1989. At that time, this prestigious magazine did a cover shoot for the show's stars, but they only chose Ed O'Neill and the two children on screen, completely leaving Amanda Bearse and David Garrison out of the lineup. According to media reports, Bearse and Garrison begged O'Neill to speak up and convinced the producers to have the entire cast appear, as they felt that was the minimum respect for a television family. O'Neill chose to remain silent for fear of upsetting network executives and losing the chance to be on the valuable magazine cover. His indifference became a fatal stab at his colleagues' trust, leaving cracks that could never be fully healed during the 11 years of broadcasting. These tensions escalated to the point where O'Neill once shared that he was not invited to Bearse's wedding. Notably, he admitted that he laughed out loud when hearing the news because he clearly understood the reason for that alienation. The direct confrontation between them did not stop at script arguments, but spilled into real life, affecting the working atmosphere of the entire crew. Behind the laughter echoing from the studio audience, the actors had to pull themselves together to maintain professionalism despite the personal conflicts smoldering behind the lens. Few know that the intense confrontations between the actors on set were just the beginning of larger instabilities, when the very network behind those successes was quietly preparing for an unexpected end, a strategic decision that even the biggest stars could not reverse. The network shock. In May 1997, Married, with Children officially ended its 11-season journey with 259 episodes, marking the era of one of the longest-running comedy series in Fox network history. Instead of a formal farewell party or a commemorative press release, the end of the show was marked by indifferent coldness from the network leadership. In the final stage of the sitcom's career, the bond between the cast and the production unit was completely broken, leaving deep psychological shock for key individuals, especially Ed O'Neill. The event of killing the show occurred in an ironic context. When Ed O'Neill was enjoying a personal vacation at a motel in the suburbs, he received no official notification that the program had been canceled. While fans across America were discussing the fate of the Bundy family, on the news the show's main star was the last to know. He was informed by a newlywed couple he happened to meet at the motel when they heard the information from a local radio station. That a television icon who had dedicated more than a decade to the network's development had to receive news about his career through a stranger is clear evidence of the management system's disrespectful attitude at that time. The 6-week silence following that information from Fox further exacerbated the breakdown in the relationship between producers and actors. There was no thank you call, no recognition of O'Neill's contributions to the network's success during its early founding years. In a statement to the New York Times regarding that time, O'Neill described the feeling of being discarded as a deep professional insult. To him, the end of Married with Children was not just losing a job, it was a denial of the value of the efforts that had created the brand for the Fox network from the early difficult days. From a television management perspective, Fox's abrupt termination of the series without a proper ending plan for the characters caused a wave of opposition from the fan community. Many opinions suggested that the shift in content direction and budget cuts made the relationship between the stars and the network distant. For Ed O'Neill, the long silence after the show wrapped was a difficult time for him to reshape his career. The consequences of the lack of transparency and communication shaped a cautious and somewhat strict attitude of his toward future projects. He gradually realized that in the entertainment industry, personal value sometimes cannot cover up the strategic calculations of copyright-owning entities. This incident also clearly revealed the harsh nature of the sitcom production culture in the U.S. in the late 90s. The actors, even in star positions, were still just pawns in the content rotation strategy of large media corporations. The lesson about the failure in information transmission from Fox became a part of O'Neill's experience data as he stepped into the next stages of his career. He chose to face that silence with counter-silence, not creating public arguments, but quietly transforming to escape the shadow of an actor hired by networks. This communication breakdown not only affected the cast's personal psychology, but also left a classic lesson on how to manage stars and television brands in a fiercely competitive market, where loyalty is often placed behind pure revenue numbers. The fact that the show maintained its persistent vitality for more than a decade was not due to luck, but stemmed from the choice to go against every comedy standard of that time. Instead of trying to retain support with flashy images, Married with Children chose to expose cracks and everyday hardships to create an unmistakable identity. Raw reality. Completely different from traditional sitcom motifs that dominated 80s television, where families were built on perfect hypocritical templates and all conflicts were resolved neatly in 30 minutes. Married with Children chose a completely opposite path. The show's resounding success did not stem from scripts that sugar-coated life, but originated from the ability to reflect directly and uncompromisingly the stagnation of the working class in America. Ed O'Neill, through embodying the character Al Bundy, created an iconic, failed middle-aged man archetype, a shoe salesman with a meager salary facing contempt from his wife and children, and extreme boredom with reality. This performance was far more than mere fictional acting. It was the profound result of distilling deep-seated observations of social reality, painful truths that television networks at the time were intentionally sweeping under the rug to maintain a sanitized image. The unapologetic rawness and stark grittiness embedded in the show's DNA became the primary catalysts that ignited a wave of intense controversy from both mainstream critics and conservative watchdog organizations. Paradoxically, the very criticisms leveled against the show's harsh language-biting satire and the unapologetically disrespectful dynamics between family members served as an accidental lever for its success. By sparking such fierce debate, these controversies inadvertently helped the show reach vast segments of the mass audience who were desperately seeking a form of entertainment that finally felt relatable, authentic, and capable of echoing their own sense of empathy. Audiences did not find dogmatism in Married with Children. Instead, they saw themselves in the worries of earning a living in the cracks of marital life and in lingering frustrations. This breakdown between two schools of thought turned the show into a unique cultural phenomenon. Producers fully realized that to keep the audience throughout 11 seasons, the show could not just stop at the role of entertainment comedy, but had to become a mirror reflecting the pains and flaws that millions of American families face every day. Going deep into production data and script implementation, the filmmakers actively inserted non-traditional elements to completely break the classic sitcom structure of that time. Al Bundy's ironic silence, the systematic indifference of the children, or the inability to communicate between members were all calculated carefully to describe the breakdown in modern family structure. Ed O'Neill utilized the actual behind-the-scenes tensions to breathe life into the character, making the verbal wars on screen become sharp, bitter, and authentic to the point of being shocking. He was not merely acting, he was recreating the helplessness of a man trapped in the whirlpool between family duty and the desire to escape adversity. Exploiting this raw reality completely created a natural filter for the show. Those looking for sweetness and fakeness would leave, but those struggling with practical difficulties chose to stay and be loyal to the show. This bold choice became a solid fulcrum for Married with Children to exist persistently before the pressure from the Fox network and conservative media. The show established a manifesto affirming that life does not always have happy endings, and accepting flaws and personal quagmires is the most realistic way to face adversity. The value of the work does not stop at revenue numbers, but lies in redefining the concept of realistic comedy in the history of American television, laying the foundation for a series of gritty projects later on. It was that distinct vision that created an undeniable cultural legacy, putting the show far beyond the scope of a mere entertainment program to become a subject of research on sociopsychology. The legacy of resistance. After nearly 4 decades since the first episode aired on April 5th, 1987 Married with Children still maintains its position as one of the most influential products on American pop culture. The show did not stop at the scale of a regular entertainment sitcom project, but became important historical data, marking a fundamental shift in the mindset of television content production. Now at the age of 80, as he reflects on the monumental journey of 11 seasons and 259 episodes, Ed O'Neill firmly affirms that this experience stands as a defining milestone that completely reshaped his own artistic trajectory while simultaneously altering the very architecture of American television comedy forever. The enduring persistence of this work does not rely on fleeting, trendy comedic elements or superficial gimmicks. Rather, it stems from an unflinching ability to authentically reflect the complex facets of human flaws and the inherent imperfections of the family structure within a society operating under immense pressure. At its core, Married with Children is essentially a raw manifesto on human survival, illustrating life within a working-class environment, fraught with instability, hardship, and the quiet desperation of the everyday struggle. The show forced the audience to face failure, selfishness, and fierce arguments instead of dogmatic messages often seen on broadcast systems in the previous period. The legacy of the work is the spirit of resistance against idealized models, daring to face directly the rawness of working-class life in America. For Ed O'Neill, the show is proof that artistic value does not necessarily have to follow flashy standards to achieve sustainable success. Television analysis reports over the decades show that the series' real value lies in daring to show humane hidden corners that filmmakers at the time often avoided. Fierce controversies and waves of criticism from conservative organizations in the late 80s did not weaken the program, but accidentally strengthened its position as a symbol of innovation in primetime content. The spread of Married ... with Children opened a direct path for a series of comedies in a realistic, raw, and gritty style to develop strongly on cable and satellite television platforms in the following decades. Accepting the flaws of the individual and the family in a world that is never perfect became the core message maintained throughout the program. Statistical data from rebroadcast platforms and current digital content consumption shows the series still maintains stable appeal to new generations of audiences. For the creators, this legacy is not measured by the number of episodes or commercial revenue indices, but lies in affirming that works that dare to go against the crowd trend with authenticity, even if the grittiest, will always maintain a solid place in the public mind over many decades. The journey from a project doubted in the early stages of the Fox network to becoming a cultural pillar is proof of the success of a content strategy focused on originality, the persistence of the cast, and the courage of artists who dare to challenge traditional barriers. At present, the legacy of Married with Children does not stop at entertainment value, but is also a valuable lesson on the importance of maintaining content identity in a constantly changing television market. The achievements the show reached created a premise for the development of non-traditional storytelling forms, contributing to the diversification of broadcast content and shaping the mindset of many generations of producers and actors later in building television brands capable of resisting the challenges of time. If you find these analyses useful and want to continue exploring more dramatic hidden corners of world cinema and television, don't forget to hit like and share this video to fellow enthusiasts. Also, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming in-depth episodes. Your support is the biggest motivation for us to continue producing higher quality content.